Hey everyone out there in the land of YouTube, this is Annette Dion. I am the host and founder of the Psychic News Network. And it's Sunday night, and it's about 7:30, I think. And I had church this afternoon. Please check out Church of Spirituality. It will uplift you. If it doesn't, I'll eat my hat. I want to look at a few things. I've been contemplating this time that we're in right now and kind of comparing it to where we believed that we were maybe a decade ago. No longer than a decade ago, because Trump came on the scene a decade ago. Say 15 years ago. When we didn't have any thoughts whatsoever about fascism, for instance. We really didn't think about it very much because in our minds, it's what happened in World War II. It was awful. There was a never again kind of a sentiment across the world. And now here we are. And it's just so bizarre. So I just kind of have had some time to pause and to reflect on a few things about where we are today. And I know a lot of us share the sentiment that we never expected to be fighting off Nazis and, in a certain way, that's what we're doing in 2025. But what we're learning is that it's been there. It's been like an opportunistic infection. It's been there and it's grown and it's gotten, it's infecting this country. However, I'm fully aware that we were all going in a certain direction before Dumpy came onto the scene. Maybe not all of us, but those of us who have had an interest in spiritual subjects, who have been interested and engaged in spiritual practices. You all see Sadhguru behind me. That's part of my path here. Learning so much from him and learning so much from other authors and teachers and really practicing and studying. And so this what we're in right now in the United States is just so freaking bizarre. And I don't think we were ready for it, because how do you get ready for something like this? So I want to actually ask the guides to give me a sense, and we'll do this right now, to give me a sense of where we're headed. And I'll use the cards too, but I just want to kind of tune into, what does the future hold? And the first thing that I get is it's our choice to make. And it doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm making this hard choice. And, it doesn't really have to be like that. It just has to be, I choose love. Like my really good friend, Shawn Gallaway. Look up Shawn Gallaway, I Choose Love. And I've told you about his song before. It's a really good song for these times. Unfortunately, great songwriters have a hard time getting their message out nowadays. And that's all because of corporate and greed and, people that don't know about music, so much of the time are running the music industry. So they're really good songs. It's hard to get to. But my friend Shawn's song, I Choose Love, and I'll put a link in the description too. So that's what I feel like. I feel like what does the future hold? To just ask that question. The guides say it's what we choose collectively. It's what the majority of us choose. And the good news is we're seeing the majority of us are choosing a loving, peaceful future. And the law of contrast says when we have the direct opposite of what it is that we desire, it actually creates a certain kind of an energy that's like rocket fuel. So the more we are choosing a loving, peaceful, harmonious world and country, the more we consciously go, that's what we're choosing, which is why I just harp away at this whole, think about what you're thinking, right? And, I know you already know this, and I get annoyed when people tell me things I already know, but I also want to just make the point that I need to be reminded too. we have to remind ourselves throughout the day, moment to moment, oh, what kind of thought was that? Well, you might want to change that thought. Because once you start spiraling downward, it's one thing, then another, and before you know it, you're at the bottom of a pit and you can't find your way out. So I do feel that we will go in the direction that we desire to go, but then at the same time having to juggle this, oh my God, I read an article today that basically spelled it out. Donald Trump is committing war crimes against humanity. He's choosing to starve American people. And that's the kind of thing that we're psychologically, nobody's prepared for that. But in a way, we've been isolated as a nation, so we don't have, it's not like the country next door that's happening so much as in maybe other parts of the world that they're closer to that kind of a thing. But here we have it in our own country. And I do feel him getting weaker, and I'm going to show you something. I did see a YouTube short today, and I know that I can find it because I just sent it to Kathy. I do see how much he's not present. Listen to this.
That's the President of the United States, dead-ass asleep on camera in the Oval Office during a press briefing because he most likely has Alzheimer's and/or dementia that is causing his brain to atrophy. I'm a physical therapist with a doctorate in my field and 14 years experience in home health care treating geriatric patients just like Sleepy Guy. Over time, dementia will reduce your radius of self-awareness around your physical body to just around your head and face. Now, fatigue can simply be a part of aging, but dementia is a different animal. Over time, you lose the ability to be aroused or focus your attention on things that require your direct attention, like a damn press briefing in your office. Of course, the irony of all ironies, the executive responsible for making Ozempic faints in the middle of a press briefing. And here we have the commander-in-chief looking like he has no connection to this situation at all. And the truth is, he really doesn't. Cognitively speaking, this is exactly the reaction you would expect from somebody who has dementia. They've been giving him MRIs and having him take the MoCA test, not to discover if he has dementia or Alzheimer's, but to track the progression of it. As Alzheimer's progresses, it creates more amyloid plaque on the brain tissue and neurofibrillary tangles, basically altering the physical structure of the brain and poking holes in all of the automatic and normal behavior that you've had programmed into your brain for decades. And Caroline Leavitt said that the president's focus will be the ballroom going forward. That was them handing a dementia patient a coloring book to keep them occupied. Once again, he stayed behind the desk the entire time to hide his swollen feet and ankles, which are most likely from congestive heart failure and/or chronic kidney disease. Oh, also RFK got the fuck out of there as soon as he could because he knows he's not a doctor. Isn't that funny?
Anyway, yeah.
We have
so I just had to show you that because this is, we're experiencing these ICE raids, these horrific criminals going out and terrorizing people and kidnapping them and traumatizing them and taking parents away from their children. I mean, I don't need to go on about it because it's so horrifying. And it's so drastically removed from anything that I could ever conceptualize, at least, happening in this country. So he's got an addled brain. He has, his father had Alzheimer's. He's clearly not fit to be in that office. So I think that what we'll be seeing is, I just keep on seeing the American people, you can't stop progress, right? So the American people, as we more and more of us become awake and aware, what's going to happen is we're going to really be taking charge. And I'm going to ask a question about that, because we will need the help of law enforcement in order to do this, in order to take charge. And the guide, it's funny, the guide said, no, you won't need that. So we'll see. I also wanted to mention that I know at the end of the year, every year, I do a forecast, psychic predictions for the year ahead. And I just want to make the point that last year I promised to do it and I never felt like I wanted to. And now I see why. We see what 2025 has been. I promised it a few times and then I went, I feel like I just can't do it. So I think the guides had the news for me, but I didn't want to share it about how challenging this year would be. But let's not lose sight of the good. Let's not lose sight of what happened on Tuesday night. Because that's a sign. I just feel this really strong energy, and I see the American people just going kind of like, get out of our way, we need to survive, right? I mean, these are extenuating circumstances, and our number one human instinct is to survive. So that's going to go a long way. Let's take a look at some cards. I saw a couple of headlines that said things like Chuck Schumer caved, and I purposely didn't read those articles or watch those videos. It didn't look like it was across the board, but I saw one or two that alluded to Chuck Schumer caving. They can't cave or we lose health care. So I'm actually just going to ask, has Chuck Schumer, quote unquote, caved? So it's going this way. It's like, no, you wouldn't call it that. Okay. I forgot to put my, man, that was a huge truck. Those 18-wheelers go barreling by. Shake the whole house. We have our electricity ball here. Remember, we have the power. Is Chuck Schumer agreeing to something that the American people will be upset about? I don't get that. Okay, I don't feel like it's resolved. I mean, I think, even though I didn't watch any videos about this and I just saw headlines, I'm not getting that there's caving going on. So let's choose a few cards from this deck. This is the Hoods deck, H-U-D-E-S. I think that's what it is. Let's choose 3 cards about the Democrats and the shutdown. I'm seeing busy little bees. Busy little bee Democrats. Busy, 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 busy. And then when I think of the MAGA Republicans, I get frozen in chaos. Frozen in chaos. So let's pull 3 cards about what's going on there. With the Democrats, strong message. And here's the strength card right here. About the Democrats, strong message. This is great power and truth. This is the card of truth and intensity and delivering truth. And this is the strength card, and this is the 8 of Wands, which is this is fast moving. This is like the gas that fuels this. Strength and truth. I feel like what judges and attorney generals have done is, even though the Supreme Court is slow walking this, I think Ketanji Brown Jackson, from what I know, wrote something that actually looks bad, but it's actually, there's a method to the madness. Let's ask if this is going to be slow walk. The SNAP benefits is what I'm referring to. Because it's been demanded of the judicial system. It's been demanded by attorney generals and judges in a few states. I don't know how many, but that they need to cut into the emergency fund at least to, if you knew, or maybe you know how little money these people get that have SNAP benefits, it helps them because it's poverty. The American people will not let their neighbors starve, but I know it doesn't make it any better. I just really feel like we're going to see people stepping it up in ways that you can't even believe. Are the SNAP benefits going to be restored? I have a yes. These are crimes against humanity. This is what dictators do. They inflict pain. It's remarkable when you think about the MAGAs that voted for him, when he would say he'd be a dictator on day one, when they had the Nazi rally at Madison Square Garden. It's just amazing. And that's the naivety of America. It's a product of bad education, and it's a product of not knowing enough about democracy and the corruption in government. And I feel like people voted for him as a way to feel powerful. And now, let's read on, as a way to feel powerful. There's a lot of unresolved anger in people's, psyches, right? And I've seen it. I encountered a person, a MAGA person, when I was walking in the parade back on July 3rd. And I mentioned it before, that this woman, I said to this one woman who's all MAGA, like, he's building concentration camps. And she said, good. It's like, I don't know how to, what do you do with that? It was bad. I had to walk away or there would have been a knockdown. Not a good scene. I'm just kidding. I wouldn't have gone that far, but the energy could have escalated if I was the kind of person that would like that. So, SNAP benefits. I actually see that they're going to have to disperse the money. It's our money. Six of Pentacles is disbursement of funds. It's just a matter of this playing out. And I had said before, when all this ridiculousness started with SNAP, that we will bridge the gap. We will bridge the gap for SNAP. The people that receive SNAP will bridge the gap. And the Page of Swords, it's the people. I want to pull cards on the MAGA Republicans going back to their states, because MAGA Mike doesn't want them to work because he's afraid of these Epstein files being released when Grijalva gets sworn in, if they're back in session. So the MAGA Republicans are going home to their constituents who voted for Trump, who voted for lower prices, and they're livid. Remember, Trump is trying to stick it to the blue states, but blue states use less SNAP than red states. For some reason, I just grabbed the fairy cards, so let's see what the fairy cards have for us today. Which fairy wants to speak to us? The old one, the ancestors call, seek their wisdom. What have we done in history at times of great tumult like this? And it is a time of great change. Humanity does have to change. So this is a wake-up call, because we need to wake up. Let's read on the MAGA Republicans. I think we need nefarious cards. Let's see. Do we have any handy? Not at the moment. So we'll just read these. What happens when the MAGAs go back? Well, the MAGA Republicans they are back in their states. I don't think they're in the capital. What happens? A long time ago, I said that I could foresee a time that MAGA turns on Trump. This could be it. All right, hang on. So what the MAGA Republicans are seeing when they go back to their constituents is that they'll be held to pay. They'll be held to pay for cutting people's SNAP benefits, for not doing anything to stop that. But it looks like the Democrats are going to succeed in getting SNAP back online. Page of Wands, Yeah, you know what? I feel like what I'm asking about is these MAGA Republicans going back to their states, right? Because they're not in D.C. They might be going back and forth, but and then there's a whole airplane debacle going on. All these problems they created, every single one they created, we were fine. That's how war is. I actually see the people getting somewhere because of all the disruption. I'm having the sense that the MAGAs in Congress, I know it's hard to believe, but I feel like they're going to have to cave a little bit. Let's ask the pendulum. What percentage are we talking about? Well, first of all, is it true that the MAGA Republicans will be forced to cave? Yeah. They'll be forced to cave on this SNAP thing and let the money be dispersed. Okay. Will the shutdown be ending this week? Yeah, see, I was calling it for the 7th. The energy was there. Will it be Monday? Tomorrow's Veterans Day, right? Am I right? I think it is. I think it's, yeah, Monday is Veterans Day acknowledged. It's technically 11/11. Okay, so will this be resolved by Tuesday? And what I mean is the shutdown ends. Will the shutdown end? I'm asking about Tuesday. Okay, that's what the pendulum says. I mean, the energy is there for the shutdown to end. It's the longest one in history. And we got to read on MAGA Mike. You know how we have to read on unpleasant people. that's the job. My self-appointed job. Let's read on the ugly people. Let's read on MAGA Mike. I feel like I'm being polite because I'm not reading the nefarious cards because they're on the other side of the room here. MAGA Mike gets but he's really beat down. He's really exhausted. I get the sense that MAGA Mike wishes that he could do the right thing only because the pressure would be off, not because he has any semblance of compassion, so don't get me wrong. But I feel like he just doesn't want to keep lying anymore because it's too exhausting. And it's too obvious that he's lying. There's a lot of bad liars in this regime. The 6 of Cups and the 7 of Wands. Yeah, these two cards indicate a little bit of exasperation energy. And the 6 of Cups, this is good. The pressure will be on them. You cannot let people starve. And the shutdown feels like it's going to end on Tuesday. Let's ask again. Is the shutdown going to end on Tuesday? Time is hard to predict, but the energy, like I said, the energy is there. I have a whole bunch of things on a piece of paper to read on. Let's see. The Democrats had some rallies over the weekend. Gavin Newsom, I think AOC showed up. Maybe. Or Jasmine Crockett was there in Texas. And Gavin Newsom, I mentioned the other day, is going to I think it's a UN climate conference in Brazil. We need people to be doing that work. This is survival. This is about survival. There's another windstorm predicted to come through like tomorrow. You know how I've been talking about how windy it's been? There's another windstorm coming. So I'm going to pull 3 cards about the rallies over the weekend and the after effect of the rallies. The guides are saying you can't stop the people. Can't stop the people. Nine of Cups, it was fruitful. The emotions were overflowing. It's a love fest. These rallies the Democrats are having are love fests. It's great. Ride that wave. That's a good wave to ride. Yeah. Okay. So, now when I pulled that fairy card and it talked about the ancient wisdom, there's something called 3-1 Atlas. They don't know what it is. Astronomers don't know what it is. So if you hear any talk about that, like it's not behaving like a meteor, it's not behaving like something that they know what it is. But I do feel like, a few years ago, it was February of 2022, I believe, or 23. The green comet passed by the Earth. I kind of forgot about that, but I got a really strong psychic hit that, it was really, really, really frigid cold. It was like this crazy cold snap. And I was up in New Hampshire, and you could see it in the wee hours of the morning, but I got a really, really strong psychic hit that comet was going to lead to an acceleration of human evolution. So I know it's hard to see it that way because it looks like we're devolving, but as far as what that is, I guess a 3-1 Atlas. You may know what I'm talking about. I don't really know what I'm talking about. I've just come across it here and there. Some people are saying it's an alien spaceship. I feel like what it is, it's like a it feels like the Akashic records in a certain way, because it feels like it's like information. It's weird. I'll read on it maybe tomorrow. So, why did I bring that up? I'm going to pull 3 cards about how it's going to affect the planet. It'll be closest on December 19th, which is a Friday. I know that because I'm teaching a workshop. Or I'm doing a solstice gathering locally. Maybe I'll do one for the members too. Yeah, I'll probably do that. So what's this 3-1 Atlas? What's it bringing to us? Leaving the past behind. Yeah, it's about evolution. If it gives you any sense of hope and inspiration, just know that we are dealing with the dregs of slime, the buckets of gross slime of the worst of the worst. We're flushing them out. We're flushing them down the toilet. The evil, the cruelty, you know who they are. The Stephen Millers, yeah. And speaking of Steve Bannon is expressing that he thinks that if Democrats win, that he's going to prison. Steve Bannon. We'll read on that. Page of Pentacles. So this consciousness that's coming in with this space object. I know it sounds like I don't know what I'm talking about, because I really don't in a way. I'm just getting the impression that there's a lot to do with leaving the destructive past behind and bringing in a new age for the youth of society and the Six of Wands. I think we're going to see sanity restored. I do. I feel like we're going to see sanity restored. This insanity is not sustainable. I think it's a good thing. We don't devolve, we evolve. We do see the appearance of And the guides were showing me today on my walk the energy of these MAGA Republicans, and it's very thin. It's like it's very not strong. So the more we can work on being like strong like bulls, strong like a rock, you know, the more we can work on that, the more powerful we'll see our energy will affect the collective. So it does look, I mean, that the rally energy looks really hugely positive. So I'm going to ask now, let's use just the regular, let's use the Witch's Tarot. I'm going to ask now what happens with ICE, because they're planning to ramp it up. They're planning to ramp it up. So let's use this pendulum and see. Will this regime succeed in ramping up ICE? They have all kinds of like phone hacking stuff. You're being spied on all the time. You know, that's like, it's hard to really stop that, right? Is ICE actually going to ramp up their attacks? Don't be afraid, that is the plan. Will they be stopped? They're planning to ramp up the attacks. It looks like they will. Will they be stopped? Okay, well maybe I need to ask a different question. Will we see action taken against them that's legit and effective? Yeah. Okay. So they'll show their ugly faces and they'll do their ugly deeds. But we will see action taken against them. That's what I was wanting to see. So when will we see ICE ramping up the attacks? Will it be this week? Will it be next week? Ramping up the attacks. Will it be in 3 weeks? It's actually it's not determined. Can we change the ramping up of ICE with our thoughts? Like if we pray and intend together? Yeah, we can. So I've been pointing people to the Under the Lives on Thursday nights, Juneteenth. Go to Juneteenth, because I recall that I did a guided meditation, because we do them once a week on Thursdays. And queue up to the 15-minute point if you don't want to hear the first part where we're just talking. And do that guided meditation for under Juneteenth, Under the Lives. Okay, I'm going to pull 3 cards about the fate of ICE. What are we going to see? What's the fate of ICE? I actually see some of them being arrested. These are thugs. These are brutal brown shirts, really. Yeah, okay. The 5 of Wands, it's going to be really challenging for... Oh, this is interesting because it's basically what I just told you. They're going to try to rush in and do what they do. The 5 of Wands, it'll be met with us challenging them. And the Magician is indicating it's up to us to change this. I can't say enough about the higher vibrational frequency being a great protector. So yeah, ICE, they're going to be rushing in. They're going to be trying to do all kinds of stuff. But I do see interference. And I see that the interference that we do makes us stronger. I really think the American people are going to be so activated. Like they want us to be afraid, but I'm seeing people being fearless. I mean, it is a war, right? In a war, you have soldiers. I'm not saying it's going to be an actual war with weapons. I'm just saying that we have to defend our territory. And that includes our communities. Okay, let's ask about Dumpy. Let's ask if he'll be stopped. Let's ask the energy. Actually, let's ask about this regime and whether we'll see it stopped. Will we see this regime stopped? And when I say that, I mean, will we see some kind of action taken so that it stops? The madness and the insanity needs to stop. We have the power. Hung up in courts, hung up. I do see lots and lots and lots of roadblocks and bumps in the road for this regime. I do. The Two of Swords is it puts us in this holding pattern, and we're just sharpening our swords. So it's a process. We'll get through it. We'll be stronger. We'll be more resilient, and we will protect our country at the first opportunity. Well, we're doing it now. This is a process. This is a process. And it's really, it's training. It really is training. If we want to see a better world where we're going to make it, then we have to train ourselves. We will never take our eye off our democracy ever again. We won't. I mean, all those people that just would tell you if you were talking about politics, oh, I don't talk about politics. Oh, I don't want anything to do with politics. All that has changed. So I'm going to pull 3 cards about our fate as a nation. I think I want to use the witch cards. Our fate as a nation, given the current energy. And then I will let you go and we'll reconvene for Off the Ledge. My videos are just recorded and uploaded for the time being. Mostly, except Thursdays and Sundays. Live stream. Okay, I got 4 cards for some reason. We will still have to deal... Okay, if we don't get to the crux of the issue, we're foolish. He's selling our country. If we don't start talking about the reality of the issues, and it looks like we will from these other cards, we need to, I think this is about awakening to, he's stealing all of our money and putting us into massive amounts of debt. And I know, we could have had Kamala last November. I'll read on that too. How wonderful that would have been. But you know what? I ended up saying last year, after everything kind of fell, remember how upset we were, how I was doing morning videos to get everybody to calm down? That was before I called them Off the Ledge. But what I remember that I said then was America didn't deserve Kamala. At that time. We have to earn that. And we're really starting to. Just America in general. We didn't deserve Kamala. America in general was not behaving responsibly. Most people didn't vote. So, as far as moving forward, we have to identify the crime of stealing our country, and that is happening. And then we see, when we're all kind of on board with that, we see the Nine of Cups. It will be a fruitful thing. I wonder, let me ask this, will we see any semblance at all of mainstream media getting on board with telling the real news? I have a yes. Okay, so it happens out of desperation. It does. That's a strong yes. We're going to see mainstream media getting on board with telling people what's actually going on. Because the people will know. Because you can't deny it. If you have SNAP benefits and they don't come in. I mean, I know that Trump is trying to say all the things that are happening are not happening. And he says it's the opposite. Prices are going down. Gas is going down. Everything's going down. It's like, no, it isn't. This has a shelf life. All right, I'm going to leave it there, and I will see you tomorrow. I'll do an Off the Ledge. Please watch Off the Ledge. I don't care if you don't think that you're spiritual. It doesn't matter. We talk energy. And I will, I might throw in a live stream this week. If I do, it will be Wednesday, but I'll keep you posted. All right. Namaste. Please hit the thumbs up. If you see a hype button, please hit that. Click on that and subscribe and become a member by hitting the join button. And I'll see you soon. Namaste.